It's back. Bigger. Better. And better. It's Black History Month, the sequel, a 28-day celebration of black exploitation films. Before I say anything, I want to get out of the way that Friday Foster is not a bad movie, but it could have been so much better. Released in 1975, Friday Foster will be the final movie that Pam Grier did with American International Pictures after a long and prosperous relationship. By this point, she felt like she was more in control of her career after starring in several standout roles and easily being the first lady of blaxploitation. This allowed her to better pick and choose what kind of character she could play. And it's probably why the movie Friday Foster doesn't exploit her body as much or demean her in any way. It's a character that, just like Pam Grier, is more in control of what happens to her. Friday Foster is based on a comic strip of the same name that ran from 1970 to 1974. It was created by Jim Lawrence, mostly as a shock to the realization that there weren't any lead black woman comic strips at the time. Friday Foster wasn't the first black woman comic to exist. That honor goes to Torchy Brown. But it was the first to be syndicated. Friday Foster tells the story of a New York fashion model turned fashion photographer, also named Friday Foster, and her various misadventures she always finds herself in. The film Friday Foster tells the exact same story, with the only difference being that instead of Friday living in New York, she now lives in Harlem. In the movie, Friday is sent on a job in the middle of the night by her boss Monk, played by Julius Harris, to photograph the arrival of the richest black man in the country, Blake Tarr, played by Thalmus Razulala. Unbeknownst to her, there's treachery afoot, and there's an assassination attempt on Blake by a bunch of dudes posing as police officers. A shootout occurs, and several people are left dead, and worse than that, one of the assassins spots Friday, so you know what that means, she's got to go. And this is where Friday Foster pulls the rug out from under me. Carl Weathers as the silent assassin Yarbrough is the best part of the movie to me. He begins to stalk Friday everywhere she goes to try to silence her since she took a picture of him at the scene of the crime. And he's relentless. Carl Weathers, as an emotionless killer, is the character I never knew I wanted. I know O.J. Simpson fell through as the Terminator, but if Arnold didn't work out, I can totally see Carl Weathers as the Terminator. So I've already established how great that is, and what does Friday Foster do? Completely change the plot to something else, of course. There's a big conspiracy behind someone wanting to kill Blake, but it gets so convoluted that I found myself not caring at all who's behind it. By the time we get to the conclusion and get all the answers, I'm just like, they should have just stuck with the assassin trying to kill Friday plot. If it wasn't for the stacked and talented cast, I might have completely dismissed Friday Foster. But it's hard to make a bad movie when it includes the likes of Yaphet Kotto, playing a good guy again, Eartha Kitt, Scatman Crothers, playing a reverend again, Ted Lang, aka Isaac from Love Boat, Paul Benjamin from Across 110th Street, and Godfrey Cambridge from Compton Comes to Harlem, playing a flamboyant fashion designer.
Interesting. Maybe with the right gown and a new coiffure, you might pass for her.
There are some running gags in the movie that do crack me up a little bit, like one of the detectives being an alcoholic. Every time he can't figure out what's going on, he goes,
"Sure wish I had some beer. Damn, I need a beer."
And then there's another running joke about Friday Foster not having a car. So whenever she needs to chase somebody, she just steals whatever vehicle she needs. Despite feeling like the movie wasn't all that great, I still could have seen the Friday Foster character in a recurring TV show. It's got all the right ingredients, but I think the lukewarm reception to the film probably soured any chance of that becoming a reality. After this, it would be a while before Pam Grier had another lead role, but I think that was more to do with the declining interest in blaxploitation than her abilities as an actress. I just wish her blaxploitation send-off was just a little better than Friday Foster.